in-person public convenings across the 6-county Central Coast region. There was one held in San Benito County last Tuesday. And the purpose of these public convenings was to give an opportunity for the public to learn more about the SURF program and basically gather feedback and public insight on economic opportunities and challenges that are facing the region. And so the Uplift Coalition will be gathering all the information that was collected from these public convenings and be using that to inform their economic regional plan that will be submitted to our office in the state for the SURF program. So for those of you on the call who participated in that, thank you so much for your involvement. I know the Uplift Coalition and our agency and the rest of the state agencies involved in SURF are really grateful for your involvement. That's all I have regarding updates, or that's all I have with updates regarding SURF. Only other update that I have from GoBiz. So our office is about to open up the application period for our Cal Competes tax credit and Cal Competes grant program. For those of you who aren't aware of these programs, these are funding opportunities that are provided to California businesses that are looking to either relocate to California or expand their operations or grow within California. So the application period starts July 24th and goes until August 14th, and there's a total of $164 million in tax credits and excuse me, and $120 million in grants available. Just kind of as a little recap, this program, Fire Clay Tile in San Benito County actually received, I believe, $2 million in tax credits last year. So this is a really valuable program. So if you guys are aware of any businesses or companies looking to take advantage, definitely would recommend informing them of this opportunity. And our office will be holding a public webinar, free public webinar over the next couple of weeks, one on July 26th, another one on August 3rd, and another one on August 8th. And I'll send the details and registration to that to Brian so he can share with the group. Other than that, I don't think I have any other updates. Just want to mention that it was good seeing some of you at the CalEd conference in LA, and I know it was really good to see your guys' turnout and involvement. And I was really appreciative to have a chance to chat with some of you. So great to see you all there, and thank you so much for allowing me to attend these gatherings.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi, Brian. This is Dina Snyder. I'm just following up on the iHub. I saw that the second version of iHubs got awarded those grants. Is the iHub going to get funded again by the governor? Is there going to be a third iteration? And if you don't know, that's fine. But I was just wondering.
I would have to double check on that. The iHub program is run by our sister agency, the Office of the Small Business Advocate. And I'm not sure if they're going to be holding another round for the iHub funding opportunity. I know the iHub round 2, those ones were funded last year. I believe 2 organizations in the Central Coast region were received that iHub designation. Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a third one or not. So I'll have to double check and look into that.
Okay, that would be much appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're evaluating it here on our end. Like if that's
wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Any more questions? Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next up, we have Amanda Elliott. Welcome, Amanda. And she's going to give us a presentation on the Main Street program.
Well, good evening, everyone. I will share my screen and open up my presentation here, and some of this may be a repeat for some of you.
That's
Um,
okay, but before you begin, Amanda,
Uh-huh.
I would just like to say that the city council has provided in the 23-24 budget money for California Main Street program that Amanda is going to outline. So a decision has been made by the city council to pursue. We already are a member of Main Street America, California Main Street. So this program will give us an idea regarding what that program would entail for San Juan Bautista. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah, so I just have a brief presentation here, not too long, but I am going to give you just a little background and overview of the work that we do, and what the transformation strategy will look like for San Juan Bautista. So again, background for Main Street. We are committed to strengthening communities throughout the nation, specifically the economic development and older historic downtowns. We have a network of more than 1,600 grassroots organizations in 46 states. We've been around for more than 40 years doing this work. And, it's work that has made a huge difference in our commercial districts throughout the nation. And these are some of the reinvestment statistics for the impact of our Main Street programs. More than $6.25 billion reinvested locally from our Main Street programs. And a lot of this happens in conjunction and partnership with others who are working with our Main Street programs. You can see the volunteer hours, over 1.5 million, and then new jobs, 29,000, more than 29,000 jobs just in 2022. And the rehab of more than 10,000 buildings. So obviously really great impact that we're making through our Main Street programs. And Main Street has a philosophy and a framework that we use for our program, which is built up around a 4-point approach. And that is the economic vitality, building a diverse economic base for your Main Street or your commercial district and downtown. The design, creating an inviting, inclusive atmosphere that really celebrates the historic character of your downtown, and then organization, building leadership and strong organizational capacity, and really broad engagement with the community and others for partnerships across all sectors, and then promotion, marketing the district's defining assets, communicating what is unique about your downtown, your commercial district. And we do all this with what we call community transformation. And in terms of the organization, in terms of building the partnerships, it's really building a shared vision that converts the Main Street mission into clear goals to define your organization's role in revitalizing your commercial district. Organization involves creating strong foundation for substantiating sustainable revitalization efforts, including cultivating partnerships and community involvement and resources for your district. And I'll just say, I also did not include a slide specifically around California Main Street, but our California Main Street is a part of our national Main Street program, and we are now being administered through our Main Street program. I am an employee of Main Street America, and I represent California, and we have about 30 Main Street programs that are part of our Main Street network in California. And then really building relationships through community engagement and partnership. So these are some of the people that you work with in terms of the organization piece. And again, this is a list of some organizations that you might work with as your Main Street program, nonprofit organizations, anchor institutions, city council, other leadership in the city, business and property owners, and of course, small businesses as well. So in terms of promotion, really breaking down, that work that we do to market our downtown and commercial districts. It really helps to change and enhance the district's image, strengthens the district's position as the center of community activity, and brings people to the district to shop, gather, live, and invest. And I did try to go to your website and the city and pick out some pictures that I know where you have events and community gatherings. And these are some of the pictures I did select to include in the presentation here. And again, with promotions, it's people, buildings, atmosphere, institutions that are unique, and services that are unique to your downtown or commercial district. And it really helps you to understand your market and your audience, define your market position. Again, a lot of times we notice that some communities want to base their strategies on another community that is not necessarily closely related to the community that is your community. So the strategies that you come up with really need to reflect the people, the place that are within your community and make sense to the stakeholders that are there. So really assess your current promotions and determine what is really needed to bring more people into your district through the promotions. And design and place, again, highlighting that historical and cultural preservation that is in your district, the architectural assistance, design, regulation, and review, going through ordinances that can help to support infrastructure development in place, public spaces, signage, streetscapes, amenities and infrastructure, and building maintenance and improvement. And obviously some beautiful buildings and things that you have within San Juan Bautista there. And again, in terms of design, really looking at the opportunity for shared spaces, industry-specific spaces, live work. Again, these are some of the things that we see that are happening in districts throughout our Main Street programs. Some of them are doing business planning contests that really helps to, spur new businesses to come into the district, providing rental subsidies, developer guidelines. All of these things really encourage business within our commercial districts. So in terms of economic vitality, really supporting our small businesses and really helping to grow that entrepreneurship ecosystem, developing those who are aspiring business owners. Really, you got to reach out to the businesses and property owners to develop personal relationships with them, making sure that you are sensitive to the diversity or in any immigrant businesses that might be there. Sometimes you need to have information that is translated if you have a large population that is bilingual. So, maintain a property owner's inventory with information around tax records, target owners who own multiple properties or anchors who are likely to cooperate with the program to shape initial economic vitality activities. Again, this is a very strong point for our Main Street programs. A lot of our Main Street programs in the past were focused mainly on events and promotions and marketing, but we know that our businesses need support. And in order for us to really have the revitalization that we want to see in our communities, the economic vitality piece and economic development is really a strong piece that we need to have in connecting our businesses to resources. And the Main Street program does that. As a member of Main Street, you have access to our online services, as well as resources, training, and other information that will be provided to you as a Main Street program. And again, it all begins with relationships, really the business attraction and development piece, real estate development, and assessing really where you are in your district, what, doing that assessments to determine, what is the need. Really talking to your business owners, your property owners, and doing the full community engagement to understand what is the need within your community and how do you build upon the assets that are there. So this is an example of some work that I did as an executive director in Richmond, California. I was executive director for a Main Street program in Richmond for 13 years. With that, was able to develop relationships with the city, with property owners, with developers, and with the community at large. We had a vacant property that was a commercial space at the street level of the garage there for BART, and it stayed empty for about 7 years. I worked with the city. We had a commercial property developer and a corporate sponsor. And with that partnership, we were able to develop a co-working space and 2 small businesses that were part of a deli and a coffee shop that went into that vacant space. I'm happy to report that the co-working space is still operating. The 2 small businesses, the coffee shop and the deli, did suffer from COVID, and didn't quite recover from that. But we are working to get more businesses into that commercial space. So again, in terms of the scope of work that we are proposing and wanting to work with San Juan Bautista would be to have stakeholders to come to a full training of our Main Street programs. And these would be a couple of day trainings that we would do, and where we would really break down each of the 4 points. It really includes a hand-on learning experience to complement the lecture and discussion. So you would be doing work within the workshops and really beginning to understand the comprehensive Main Street approach and how it applies specifically and would apply specifically to your district. And part of the work will also include the asset mapping, engagement and partnership building. So this workshop would work with San Juan Bautista's district to identify their local assets and how to develop new and strengthen existing partnerships, resources and options around the branding, the marketing, and really prioritize those assets along the market data. So we would be working with our research team and doing the market, collecting the market data and really presenting to you information to help to develop the transformation strategy. And again, that is that community-driven strategy that identifies what is the customer niche and what is special about your district that you can build upon. The developing these strategies really, again, reflect your position in the local and regional retail market using inputs from community engaged vision. So a lot of outreach would be to your community stakeholders, including the property owners, the business owners, your city council, the Economic Development Commission, and others. And then with that would develop 3 to 4 overarching transformation strategies that you think really reflect what is the niche within your community, and work on those strategies over the next 2 to 3 years. And so the work plan and metrics development, the session would work with the local community to refine existing work plans and develop a new work plan specifically to align with identified transformation strategies for success. So although you may have some plans that you have previously, really working with the local community right now to create something that is tailored around the qualitative and quantitative metrics that really allow your local organization, in developing a local organization and committee members to carry out this work. I understand that you don't have a Main Street program that is necessarily active right now, and you are developing a group that will work on this program, and that's what we would be here to help you to do.
But I never thought I looked good with the shape.
Yeah, I like
And I like the shape. It makes your mouth look longer and
Is there a
skinny.
question?
Oh,
Oh, okay. And so, again, the transformation strategy articulates a focused and deliberate path to revitalizing and strengthening your downtown or commercial district's economy. It's really grounded by both an understanding of the underlying drivers of the local and regional economy, as well as community feedback and engagement. Again, the work that we do is really comprehensive in terms of engaging the full community around a shared vision. And so it's really important that a good deal of outreach is conducted to make certain we have the right folks in the room who are helping to develop this strategy. And so these are just some of the potential types of strategies. We have several, about 20 that we can offer you to look at, and when we do the engagement, but a couple of them, or these are 3 of them, the agricultural economy, districts that serve agricultural communities and or support home food production, locally sourced food, and environmental sustainability. And again, building programs, events, other types of businesses that would be focused on this if you just determined that this was your transformation strategy that you wanted to highlight. Again, and then with arts districts that support the development of creative industries such as design, music, dance, as well as arts related education, production, and distribution businesses are focused around arts. And then we have those that are focused on with the college town. If you're a college town, districts that seek to make a strong connection with a nearby educational institution and attract students and faculty to the local businesses. San Luis Obispo is one of our college towns, and they use that strategy. So many of you received this information earlier with the outline of the services and the pricing and how we determined that. Again, this is, I think been determined already in terms of the budget of the $15,000. And we propose starting some of the work in September and going through June of 2024. So that is really just, again, a quick overview and understanding of our work and what we're proposing to work with you on, and how we can work with you to develop a strategy and to help you to get a Main Street program active and working to really support the development and revitalization of your commercial district. And
Thank you.
certainly, if you have any questions.
Yes, go ahead. Let's start out in the here in the audience. Is there anyone that has any questions for Amanda? Oh, do you want to please step up to the microphone? Thank you. Is the green light on the microphone? I know, me too.
Welcome
All
to the
of us,
club.
yeah.
And you have to speak closely to it.
Okay. Can you hear me?
You can,
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so what I gathered, and correct me if I'm mistaken, what I gathered is you helped develop the downtown area through a series of programs. Am I accurate?
That's correct.
Okay, that's my only question.
Oh, okay.
Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to ask a question of Amanda? Can't see anybody, do you? Okay, all right. Oh, Sarah does. Okay, Sarah, go ahead. Oh, Brian, do you have to unmute her? Or
Sarah, if you can please unmute yourself.
Hi, Amanda. Thank you for the
Hello.
presentation.
Thank you.
I just had a few questions. So
Mhm.
how are the stakeholders appointed?
So that would be determined by your group who is helping to execute this contract. But generally what we recommend is a broad stakeholder group to be involved. Again, the property owners within your downtown commercial district, representation from the city, representation from any anchor institutions, just again, broad range of folks who are interested and want to be a part of developing the downtown.
And are those paid positions?
They are not unless or until you establish your Main Street program, and then you have dedicated funding for paid positions. Once your Main Street program is established, I again ran a 501c3 Main Street program, and yes, we had several paid positions, and we also had volunteer positions with our volunteer board and volunteer committee members.
Okay, and then my last question was, can you just give me a few, cities or towns with a similar demographic to San Juan Bautista that have implemented your program?
Yeah, we have Paso Robles, St. Louis Obispo. Monterey used to be one of our Main Street programs. And what is the population size in San Luis Obispo? I'm sorry, in San Juan Bautista?
Oh gosh, Mayor, help me out with this
We're
one.
about 2,000.
Yeah, so I guess a town of our size, have you?
Of your size, yes.
Mhm.
So we have Arcata up in north, and Eureka's a little larger, but Arcata. There's a couple of others that are small, but you would be one of the smaller towns in population.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
And just to sort of amplify Amanda's answer on the stakeholders, typically when the cities gets involved with consulting team and programs, and this would be unique for the city, but we would handle this very similarly. We would help the Main Street program identify people in the community who care about the program and want to be involved. And then we would help Main Street develop a stakeholder list. And we wouldn't be selective, of course, but we would encourage our organized groups to participate. And of course, looking at the active transportation plan stakeholder group, the group actually is potentially very diverse. So we would try to do as much as we can to help the Main Street program put together a robust list of people for the Main Street program to contact. And so stakeholders generally are self-selective. And I don't know whether there's a steering committee that might be established. But we're looking for involvement by the EDCAC across the board with the California Main Street program to help provide some orientation, coordination, a forum for collaboration perhaps. And so we're looking to the EDCAC. And finally, this is a program like the EDCAC, which is supported and funded through the city by city council action. So ultimately, the overall program will have to be endorsed by the city council once it's put together.
And we have several other programs that are established that way as well.
Any questions here in the group?
I do.
Oh, wait, Rhonda?
Hi, Rhonda from Minaka. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's who picks the stakeholders? Because it sounded to me after your presentation there that the city is in charge and they pick and choose. Is that not correct? Okay, so I just want to make sure that it's not just the city deciding who the stakeholders are. Correct?
No, we would be working with the city.
Right. Yeah, what I described was a process for us to assist the Main Street program to identify people that might be interested. And then the stakeholders would self-select for participation. If you show up as a participant in the Main Street program, then you'll be a part of the stakeholder group. So basically, it's an open process, as I understand it, and we're here to provide support.
We recommend an open call.
Right, exactly. Thank you. That's good.
Leslie?
I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate that you actually have photos of San Juan Bautista. Rarely do we get that, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyone
Absolutely.
else? I have a couple questions. Amanda, our downtown is literally only 4 blocks long. And one of those blocks on the opposite side of the street is a California State Park. We also have the largest mission in California here. So it's quite a different situation than really maybe San Luis, which is a college town and a bit larger, but definitely not like Paso Robles. And by the way, Paso Robles looks great. I was just there about a month ago and they've done, a fabulous job.
They've had a program for over 30 years. So
Okay, well, then it's about time. Because I've been going there for quite a while and this is the first time it was really fabulous. So I wanted to let you know about that we only have 4 blocks. And also we already have a property owner's inventory. I have access to all the public records and we have that set up with mailing lists and who the property owners are in the community on the main street only, but I can get any of them. The other thing I wanted to say is that I don't know if you've been here or if you're familiar with
yes,
our
I was
town.
there just about 2 years ago. It's one of my sister's favorite places. We
Oh,
were at the
great.
mission and had lunch there, and it was a great trip.
Okay, so you're aware of that we have more than enough vacant buildings that need to be filled. And I would say that's my personal mission to get those filled. Back in the 70s, we had a great restaurant scene and we've started that again. We have Anaka that's fabulous. We have Lola, who's Sarah has, it's a sandwich shop that's wonderful. We have Hardeen's, who is a great draw. And then of course we have Doña Esther's, and then now we have Smoke Point Barbecue as well.
Yeah.
So, we have JJ's Hamburgers, and then we also have Mission Cafe. So, we're
So that may be a strategy to build around is the
Yeah.
food and the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to bring all of that up and thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
One more question, if I may. Can we have a copy of the PowerPoint?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Oh, is it attached? Sorry, I gave my
Maybe
packet
Brian
away.
send it to
Thank
us,
you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
We'll make sure that you get electronic copies.
Yeah, I think we already did.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, you have a copy, I think, of the proposal, but I can give you a copy of the specific PowerPoint as well.
Yeah, and previously Amanda did provide the EDCAC with information about the Main Street program. And that presentation is a part of the record of your EDCAC meetings, and I can provide that also. So
Teresa has a question.
I can't hear.
Your microphone's not working. No, it's working. Hit the.
It's green, but it's not working.
There is one that was broken.
Hello?
There
Now
go.
can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
It was the microphone, not me. I just wanted to thank you for the presentation, but also ask you, how involved are you in these meetings and the stakeholders gatherings, that type of thing. And I would say my only concern, we have a very divisive downtown right now. And how do we bring it together? Can you?
Yeah, you wouldn't be the first group that we've worked with that has had lots of division and challenges. So we would be leading these meetings, and hopefully be seen as a neutral party. We really build around that inclusive engagement, allowing people to be heard. Oftentimes people feel like they've been shut down and don't have a voice and are not being given the opportunity to tell their story or speak about what it is that means something special to them. So that is a lot of the work that we do. And so we would be leading these engagements.
That'd be good. I'm sorry about getting emotional. It's just.
Well, Teresa and I are natives, so.
Yeah, when you care about your town, I
Jackie,
understand.
So we, I think the emotions run deep with us.
Thank you.
And there are organized groups to pull from the county and the cities. San Benito County just completed the comprehensive economic development strategy.
Great.
There's a robust list of desired projects that were reviewed and incorporated or will be incorporated into that final document. So we're still in public review, but there's a lot of good information available through that, what we call the CEDS program, Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. So a lot of the data that you're looking for, I think we'll be able to provide a leg up with a lot of that information.
Excellent.
Any other questions? Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
Okay.
And so next steps, we'll be in touch with Amanda to develop our contract for work and schedule. And that information will be brought back before the EDCAC, and then we'll begin the program.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Okay, number 7, review draft SEDS comments from town hall and city council meetings. So.
Yeah, just give me a second to find the report that I'm looking for. Here we go. Okay. And there. Thank you, Leslie. So, gonna make this bigger. There we go. So as I mentioned too, in part of the previous presentation, the SEDS project has been going through the county review process. We're in the middle, well, not in the middle, but toward the end of the public review process. At the end of July, we'll conclude that review, and then the SEDS will be completed and presented to the Board of Supervisors for adoption. As you know, we have had 2 EDCAC members that have participated on the steering committee for the SEDS program. Leslie Jordan and Stephanie Correa have participated as representatives for the EDCAC. And then, as you may recall, this is a 5-year strategy It enables the city, the county, the cities and the county to seek funding from the EDA. So we have some initiatives that have been incorporated into the SEDS. We have a drinking water program, as people know. We also have a multimodal transportation project that we have applied to Caltrans for funding. That combined with the Third Street Master Plan is about $500,000 worth of planning for transportation, multimodal transportation access, and a plan for Third Street, which is pretty comprehensive. We call this project an integrated plan because our intention, as we applied for these funds to Caltrans, was to integrate the multimodal transportation plan with the Third Street Master Plan, with any planning that State Parks is currently doing, with planning that the school district is doing for the school site rehabilitation project, and also with respect to any planning that the mission is doing. So we want to incorporate in this planning program all of our partners that are key to economic vitality here in San Juan Bautista. So we have the downtown interests, commercial interests, and then we also have our institutional partners, which have all of whom have written letters of support for the multimodal center plan. It's a competitive grant. We're competing with all the other jurisdictions in the state head on. So we don't really know if we're going to get it, but I feel pretty strongly and very positively about our application. If we don't get the grant this year, we're going to try again until we do get it. So I think it's that critical that we bring these transportation resources into San Juan Bautista as an important endpoint to the 156 corridor enhancement program. Various planning commission had some ideas, very robust ideas about what might be incorporated into the SEDS, and not all of these will be represented as projects. Many of them will be referenced as programs and things that we want to pursue in the future. Some will be represented as projects in the near term and in the long term. So this is just simply a list, and the consultants will and staff will work to figure out how to incorporate these concepts and these programs into the SEDS. So you can see here it's pretty rich and lots of great ideas from the Planning Commission. And then the community in general had some ideas about, and members of the EDCAC as well had some ideas about what the SEDS should incorporate. A lot of these ideas are very aspirational and require more work to define exactly what they might involve. But I think they all represent a really good perspective on important economic development initiatives that the city may want to pursue as part of an economic development strategy that's specific to San Juan Bautista. And so we're hoping that the SEDS will accurately represent some of these interests. And of course, everyone knows we're doing a community plan. The Urban Growth Boundary Committee is looking at establishing a sphere of influence and updated sphere of influence and an urban growth boundary and a planning area as part of that overall program. We need to do infrastructure planning, part of an overall master plan. The active transportation plan, which was adopted in 2022, late in 2022, has that multimodal center as a centerpiece for multimodal transportation improvements. And then, of course, we have the Third Street Master Plan. And we also want to make sure that we have historical resources enhancement programming as part of the SEDS, because that really is our key economic development driver as our tourism base for our tourism industry. And then, of course, there's some city facility improvements that we hope will come out. So this basically was presented to this list yesterday evening, and City Council accepted the SEDS report with these concepts included. And we will be working with the consultants to figure out how to incorporate these ideas into the program. So anybody have any questions? I think it's a great list, actually.
Yeah, I think you just emailed that.
I emailed it this evening. Yeah, I said it would be distributed prior to the meeting, and actually
Yeah,
it was.
I know.
So, but none of this is new for people in terms of the overall. I think a lot of these things have been discussed in the community for months and months. So,
Jackie, yeah, oh, Jackie.
Yeah, no problem. Hey.
Wait.
There you go.
I just want to say thank you for that last presentation. And I was present at the meeting last night, and I don't recall us accepting the SEDS report. I think we had a lot of input. And my concern was that, so we need to be transparent. It was not voted on an acceptance. I think it was a discussion item. And also I had personally questioned the presenter about whether or not these were brick and mortar grants, which they were mainly. And Brian did say that in the future, other programs, but mainly she said they were brick and mortar grants. And one of the things I pointed out, and I just want you to be aware of it, inserted in this initiative 17 specific to San Juan Bautista, it talks about development on Mission Vineyard south of Highway 156. And I did point that out and question that because we have not completed our SOI and urban growth boundary. We're in the process of doing that. So at this point, to accept that report and put that in there as a final recommendation by our city is really not accurate. We are still working on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. Leslie?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of other inclusions that the council had, one was brought up by Councilmember Morris Lopez, was more on the arts and the teatro. I understand that they're already included in it, but there are a lot of things that need to happen with the teatro itself. And Marie, who is the consultant for the SEDS, said she would work with the city on how to put language into the document to add that as a component of it, as well as the mission. The mission brings 100,000 tourists to the community every year, and 40 of those are students, with 60,000 being folks who come from all over the world to visit this. And they're having huge seismic issues right now. They've received a sizable federal grant, but the newest project is buttressing the front of the mission, critical to keeping it open. So Marie, the consultant, is also adding language to that to see if we can't get more funds for that as well. So those were two additions by the council.
yes, and those are listed in the staff report. But yes, for sure. The community plan referenced in the comment that Councilmember Morris Lopez mentioned is a council approved program. And it's a budgeted planning initiative. And so, without we don't really know what the result will be, of course, but it is a program that we're actively working on. And we don't know what the configuration will be, but whatever that configuration is, we know there will be infrastructure improvements required. We know there will be funding for those infrastructure improvements that will be necessary and need to be structured. And we know that the end result will require a general plan amendment. So it is a planning program per se. And, that just needs to be recognized.
Yeah, but we're still waiting for them to.
Yeah.
do all the urban.
That's correct. It's still a work in progress. Yeah, that's correct.
Any other questions? Anybody from Zoom have a question?
He's gotta bring it back up.
Okay. All right, let's go to item 8, and who's gonna be the lucky one that wants to talk about the Cal Ed LA conference? We have Teresa, Helena, Darlene, and Patricia, and Leslie here, so
Yeah, we're lucky to have 5 members attend that conference. And
unless maybe all of you want to speak,
I would encourage people to talk about the good relationships that you established, the economic development relationships that we established with the Cal Ed team, because I understand that was very productive, and look for the EDCAC to be more connected with that relationship. So
I know that Teresa was very impressed with GoBiz. And I went to their website, and they have all the resources anybody would need. And that's a fabulous resource. So, yep. Anybody want to speak up?
yeah, what I've recommended is that people that attended the conference give 3 takeaways. I mean,
Oh.
She's passing the mic to me. Is this the one that works? Okay, my 3 takeaways. Let's see. First of all, I didn't realize my handwritten notes would be in this in this package. So you just experience how speed scribble is. Oh boy. So first takeaway, growing local businesses. Biggest thing I got, and it was a hot topic from I don't know how many groups. It's streamline the permit process. There's really a need for that. Also they're asking cities to lean into projects, advise, communicate, and possibly some kind of a business concierge to help with the steps, help with the permits, the sign ordinances, all that stuff, help businesses stay in business by visiting, help businesses that have vacancies, or help buildings that have vacancies by dressing up the windows, and then possibly have a small fund to help clean up some of these properties that are vacant or just not cared for. So then my second big takeaway is GoBiz. I really like GoBiz. Obviously, Steph shared that. They have a site selection, an RFI, a request for information, part of their business where businesses that are looking throughout California trying to find a place to land, they have all that. And what I'm seeing here is we need a database of all the commercial and industrial properties that are available. And we also need to identify our opportunity zones in the area, because this area has a lot of those opportunity zones. We need to know our capacity. What demand can we handle? What power, what water waste or wastewater, broadband. we need all those answers, and I'm sure the city probably has some of that available, but if we're gonna be courting some kind of businesses to come our direction, we need those kind of answers. And who is our workforce, you know, and we need to add some work training. And I know Gavilan College is just opening up a campus in Hollister, which would be great. What industry best fits San Juan Bautista? And if we come up with an industry, send that information to GoBiz. They probably have a business that's looking our direction. I know we're smaller in size, but there may be a small business that wants to relocate. Also what I got was the importance of the SEDS, how important that SEDS report is, and it's the framework and it's the ticket to money for grants and federal money. And so for our city representatives, Don and Brian, to be pushing this really, which I would have never guessed was that important, but it's important for a lot of these government programs. So other than that, okay, flood funds. GoBiz has connections with iBank. You know, we've got those floods that happen on the Alameda, so, and the school property, and it would be nice to have that corrected. And the third is controlling the narrative. And all I can say is this guy was so great. He's an economic economist. And he talks about how much bad news is out there and how incorrect some of the news is. And we really need to ask ourselves, is there really a recession? Are the banks really failing? All that kind of stuff. Is the stock market really in a bear market? No, just watch it, you know? So what he's saying is look at the actual, there's consumer spending up. There's, you know, housing supply is down. So of course prices are going to be up. Auto supply is down. So of course prices are going to be up. Unemployment's down, but incomes are up. So all I can say is it was a great conference. And I do want to add, I was on the 10th floor. Helena, Mrs. B abandoned me. These guys were all on the 4th floor, all remodeled the whole bit. I was up there with the ghosts. They had Netflix, and they were doing a ghost show, and the room was like 2 doors from mine. So all I can say is those girls all had the nice rooms, and I was up on the 10th floor.
That's great. Helena?
But you did have the company of the ghost.
Yes.
We did not. The conference was truly eye-opening to give us a little bit more framework on directional processes for us as individuals, us as businesses, and us as a city as a whole. And then looking at it from various different hats. Because I knew that we are already in partner relationship with California Main Street, I was taking into account those resources, the resources with CalEd, and then 2 other programs came up. It looks like that report got left out. It's just a partial report. It just says in conclusion, and it has my little, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't see it.
We'll make sure you get that.
This one is empty.
Oh.
It was in the report,
We
but
copied every other page.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
no worries. So we'll just do a bullet.
We'll make sure it's part of the record. But
Yes, but it's not part of this.
Oh, yeah, it's in the email though.
Yeah. Nonetheless, so basically my takeaways was leveraging the resources from California Main Street, and the service offerings through CalEd, which we met with, which we didn't know. We were meeting with the president and CEO of CalEd. And we just developed a relationship from being at the conference, and we got on their CalEd's radar. And so it was good. So when I expressed our desire to want to participate in some training with them, but our city didn't have the budget for it at the time. The CEO said, "We got you." So it opened up an opportunity for us to have individuals from CalEd come to assist us. And I believe Brian is in communications with them now in regards to that. This is a major opportunity because they don't do things at no cost usually. She has, and she's been the president for the last 13 years, mind you. And they are in direct relationship with GoBiz. So they work with the governor's office. It's a part of the governor's office initiative. California, CalEd is a California GoBiz collaboration with the governor's office. So it's a major opportunity for us to have this this collaboration with that organization and for them to come and assist our small little town of 2,000 people to develop our economic strategy for the city. You'll see in the report, if you do, because I don't want to belabor the time, I did give an overview of both the California Main Street as well as the CalEd programs and how they complement each other and how we can work together with the two organizations. And I feel like if you go and do your own research, you'll come up with the same conclusion. It's like a hand in glove fit that really could catapult us to another direction. Although we're small, we can be mighty, and we can actually be a voice to be reckoned with in the state of California, because we're really a jewel that is an untapped jewel. Even though we get a lot of people for the mission, they do go directly to the mission, but they don't always frequent the downtown. So we have to figure out with the revitalization process, how do we attract them to the main street and get them into the restaurants and get them into the stores and participating on that avenue. There was two other programs that I did highlight that me and Mrs. B looked at. One was Sized Up, and that's going to deal more with analytics and helping people to make the informed decisions. We did a presentation with them last week, and then we'll bring it to the main group. With that organization, you can look at the data for the businesses, for your individual business, to see how many businesses actually have a website or Instagram and what they're doing, what's working for them, what's not. So it's not just to attract new businesses, but it's also to help you to grow your existing business. And how do you find out where your target market is and how do you access them? And I think a lot of us small businesses have a problem with identifying that. Who's our target market? How do we go after them? How do we maintain a current customer? Because it's cheaper than to gain a new customer. With the Blue Dot program is a program that they utilize in several cities, but one city in particular that was part of the presentation that struck us was in Eureka. And they have an app that they utilize it's being promoted by the city. We actually, because we're so small, we're looking at maybe seeing if the county wants to participate in this process. Our mayor brought that out to us in our meeting, that if the county can participate, then we can have you can earn points by going to the restaurants or going to a business. And when we have a public forum or a public group, what we can do at that point is give out a little gift card that would kind of drive traffic to the app so that they can drive more business to each of the individual businesses. So I thought that was great. So you will be getting an overview. There's a presentation for both organizations so you can see how that works. Both organizations utilizing the county as the main hub, because it costs the same whether we do it from a county level or a city level. And then from the county level, we can actually access a icon on our website that will go to the main site, but they wouldn't know the difference. They will be getting the resources and the businesses wouldn't be charged anything. And so I thought that was a great opportunity for us to kind of stimulate the economy by by drawing people to the app and by them being able to create an experience on there.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I heard that from CalEd, people were really impressed with the enthusiasm of our and commitment. I mean, they were just bowled over by our folks. So I think that's really awesome. Yeah.
We were sucking it
good.
up like a sponge.
Yeah.
It was actually an amazing conference. The group that went was very interactive with presenters, with CalEd overall, with individuals who were part of the whole individual breakout sessions. So it wasn't just one person talking to one person, and then there were after hours events or after meeting events. Seriously, what are you doing? Who did that? Who did that? Who did that? Who did the? Seriously, what stays in?
These are photographs of you guys.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
this is
Oh,
your.
yes, I thought that was the thing. I
this
thought that
is
was the
you-
promotion thing.
This is you in the, yeah.
I thought they said that
They
here
were,
too.
they were supposed to be a CalEd, but it's really Las Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
Yeah, so this is you guys participating in the
Oh, this
program.
gentleman was amazing. He brought a bunch of folks up, and it was I can't remember the name of the city. It was a suburb, not Baldwin Hills, but another suburb around there, where folks who came from literally nothing turned a strip mall into an arts program, a print shop, a clothing shop, designs.
Destination Crenshaw.
Crenshaw, that's it. Thank you. Yeah. Crenshaw. It was just truly amazing listening to these folks talk and the passion that they had for their own cities or districts, and how they came together. Another fabulous woman. The whole experience was just incredible. Groups who came from nothing. There are economic development programs that were started by the city or started by individuals and have totally exploded. And these are big cities like Los Angeles, and how to get it downsized to the city of San Juan Bautista. And like Helena was saying, Blue Dot having that as a countywide initiative could work. I mean, that's one of the things that we're all striving for in all of these economic development plans or strategies, is how we as a county can come together, like the multimodal and the SEDS, how we can all work together to make this a thriving community. The other gentleman, Dr. Thornton, who his staff works out of Carmel Valley, controlling the narrative. What are we going to say about San Juan Bautista that makes us the destination station? So we have to figure that out for ourselves, and ideas that were thrown around. Keep strolling.
It was a fun, yeah.
The wine drinkers, watch those wine drinkers.
It says at the end of the conference.
Thank you. Yes.
I gave my tickets to the wine drinkers.
Yes. So the contacts that were made, there's a lot of excuse me, a lot of things that were going on behind the scenes with talking to individuals and how we can bring them into San Juan. to help us thrive. Thanks for the opportunity.
Charlie?
Well, you only gave half of my report here. I only see even numbered pages.
So sorry.
So sorry,
I
and
do
I had a
have-
lot of report.
I do have your notes.
Darlene Boyd notes there.
Not sure if that's the case.
Oh, yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
Okay, we started with the tools and tactics for financing economic development projects. That was the conference day. I learned a lot about some of the legislation that we're up against. I take note of legislation just because it happens to affect us a lot. There's the Surplus Land Act and its draconian restrictions to create affordable housing. In other words, if you have a parcel of land that is registered or zoned as housing and you want to make it commercial so that you can start building sustainability, economic sustainability, you have to have another piece of land that you can trade that off with or go around it somehow. And there weren't a lot of ways to do that, but one remedy was the use of the previous economic opportunity statute that they used that actually does trump this law because it was before. And that's very, very important for our zoning that we have to do. Okay, whoa. Rural economic development discussion. Let's go down to that one because okay, because some of this was already kind of covered. Oh, Destination Crenshaw. I have the URL right there if you want to go see it. In rural stuff, you're basically a 1 or 2 person shop. And that's something that Teresa and I really figured out. That, you know, you got 1 or 2 people there and they're basically running the whole show. But they do think that there's things like creating a grants coordinator, because if we're going to get grants, we have to have somebody that can actually coordinate all those grants. You should be able to issue permits within 48 hours. If some business comes to your town and wants to build here or invest in this town, you got to have that streamlined process and turn that around in 48 hours, or you're going to probably lose them, because there's a lot of people out there that specialize in finding these properties for people. And so, you got to be fast. The California Competes tax credit, Brian Coleman talked about that. It's an income tax credit available. There's all kinds of energy renewable or upgrade programs. I know that Council Member Freeman is working on this a lot. He's worked with 3CE, and he's also constantly trying to bring in some grants from them to do energy upgrades for at least getting those electric things that you hook your Tesla up to. So, because we don't have the EVs. And there's a rural business development grant programs just for looking at rural counties. IRA funding. Please don't do that. Go back up.
Try and scroll with him. It doesn't work.
No, it's go back up.
Go back.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Whoa. Now down. Okay, no, down.
Page 3.
Yes, I'm on page 3. Rural County Representatives of
okay.
California. I know that the representative from San Benito County is Angela Curro. She goes to those meetings. So I'm going to try to interface with her a little more to find out what's going on. They were founded more than 40 years ago, and they represent our small counties. So they know how to, we can use all this knowledge to get a lot of information about what we need to be doing. We also have to realize that technology is rapidly changing site selection. And we went through a whole thing on artificial intelligence, and I know Helena was with me on that one, and how they use artificial intelligence. They find a lot, they can insert a building on it that you might want. I'm sure they did this with Amazon. And then they also locate all the infrastructure you need. Is there electricity? Are there highways? You know, where are you going to park your trucks if you're doing shipping, all the stuff? And are you in a hub that's central to where you need to be? So it's a very interesting concept, but man, can they really zone in on things. And creating Brian, you're driving me crazy. Can we down a little bit more? No, not quite. Creating partnership with industries like the EVs, the AVs. Strata Verde is another one. Hopefully they'll get themselves going here. Related tech industries, if we want those. Regenerative agriculture. I'm thinking that maybe we ought to get Hartnell College up here to teach some courses, because they're probably into all that. And we need to create an industry cluster. You know, these are the kinds of things. What kind of business do we want to bring here? That's what we got to decide. Do we want to bring, you know, and do we want a commercial industrial park with related industries that can work together synergistically and communicate with each other? Okay, because that really makes things swing. Okay, go on up. Real Cool was about the fun of doing Instagram reels and how to do those so that you can market yourself. Wasn't that fun?
A company last year in my Instagram and Facebook, $6,500. I got 7 followers from LinkedIn. And I'm like, there has to be a better way.
Yeah.
I went to the conference. I started doing my own Instagram reels. And since I started doing them last week, I have almost 300.
Yay.
Just going around because they have 86% more engagement. And then people like their things. If you go down my Instagram, you see likes 1 or 2, maybe 3 on certain things that they posted, and they were just still shots. I start doing reels now. My stuff is being like 29 and 30.
Yay! Yay! Yeah, you're putting out a reel a week, right? Showcase business, you're showcasing your local history, you're showcasing your events, all that kind of stuff you've got to do. Right.
It's important that it goes along with your branding strategy for your particular business, because you want to make sure that you're getting the audience that's going to help you support what you're doing. But it eventually is, and this will come down later on down the line, it's going to fit into the city's branding strategy as well. So that's a bigger part. So we have to kind of work together to make sure that we have a uniform tone, because we have to draw people here. And one interesting point that I found out I had a conference call today on my content management, is that in order for you to be valid on the internet, you have to have consistency. You have to be viewed as a viable business or city, even though you're a city, but the algorithm won't put your information up there on the search engines if you don't have consistent posting and if you don't have a uniformed approach. It actually is an algorithm that sifts that out, and then you won't be found. And it's mind-boggling, but we have to kind of work together to come up with this system so that we can work on it.
Just in the interest of time, let's stay with our three takeaways, please.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. Well, the last takeaway that, and I mean, I have a lot here and it's worth reading. The last takeaway I'd like to get into is this of communication between not just ourselves within the community here, but within the county and sometimes with the state, because we have to look at ourselves as a region, at least a 3-county region. And that's a CRM that works on a higher level than just customer relation management is for what it's for, but what it has is analytical uses it uses data as a foundation for its platform. Its operational is based around automating a workload. And it has collaborative breakdown silos so that you can look at things, you know, which thing is it that's catching people? And I'd like to see that for our county, because we are needing to really touch in with a lot of what the county is doing and a lot of what Hollister is doing. So I just think that the three entities together, there it is, there's the other picture. You could do email integration, follow up on projects, you can do documents, you can do email marketing, you can do sales calls, you can do relationship management, all those things, okay? No, not each business should have their own CRM. We can all buy in. We can all buy in.
That's what I'm really looking at. Main Street, I didn't ask today, but it is trying to work more efficiently. I'm interested to see how other small comparable cities are actually doing it. A CRM makes sense. It can be leveraged by all the cities and the county, and then we defray the cost. Kind of like what you were saying. I think we're all saying the same thing. So I'm really hoping Main Street can also help us with the technology barriers, because it's too costly for all of us to do this individually. We really do need to look synergistically across the county. And I agree, it's a CRM makes sense. So I'm just anxious to see what Main Street has done with other similar towns.
No, I think that's a good idea. We definitely, but everyone should already have their own CRM going. The county does, you know,
Oh,
the
do they?
cities do, of course. Everyone has to do, you know, workforce does. But if Main Street, if that could be part of it, that's amazing, you know, something that everyone can have access to. But usually, you know, the information that goes in there is usually proprietary. Like people use it for sales and marketing, and it's like, these are my clients, you know, why, you know, so I don't know, that'd be interesting how that would work. But I think definitely, I mean, I'm all for a CRM, but I'm just wondering how we would do that.
Yeah, I have a PowerPoint. Yeah, I have a PowerPoint. Actually, I'm going to bring it to the next meeting
Yeah, that'd be
as a
great.
proposal.
Yeah,
I will
share that.
happily.
I know Salesforce is a good company, but I'm sure. there's
Very
other ones
expensive.
that are-
They're expensive. Larry needs it.
There's
Yeah.
some free ones, yeah.
Okay, my planning suggestions are at the bottom here. It's in the yellow. Oh, Brian, you've skipped it there. I know we need a couple of really good whiteboards so that we can do some planning. Because those, even though they're old fashioned, that's a good way to engage people. You're actually engaged kinesthetically as well as visually and verbally. You list areas needing specific plans. You go to downtown retail district, the south of Highway 156, the vacant historic and commercial buildings for possible micro manufacturing, Luck Park Community Center for nonprofits and community activities. I was just thinking locally what we need here. And begin with the CALEG conference group to do this, and then break it out more towards the community, bring the entire EDAC into it and community groups. And this is where we get the stakeholders in there. Can you go back up to the top of page 7 there?
Are you about ready to wrap it up? I know
Yes.
you have a lot of great information, but.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay, prioritize your goals, objectives, and Monday morning agendas for task forces. City needed staff to facilitate, create job descriptions, and San Juan Bautista Economic Development Specialist to facilitate plans. I feel that we do need a specialist here. I think that'll come out of our stuff with Amanda and grant coordinator. So those are my recommendations.
Thank you. Tricia?
I have the easy part. I concur with everything everybody has said. It was an exhilarating, educational, informative conference, and I thank you, Brian, and all that went into allowing me to go. Being able to meet CEOs who were so approachable, coming and saying, what can we do to help? Ready to share. And I thought oh, GoBiz, phenomenal presence, phenomenal asset that we have. But we've been neglecting our asset because we have not been asking for what we need. And that is something they made it very clear. If you need us, just ask. Because they can't come and tell us what we need. I went to, I think it was how to support minority businesses. And the one line that the speaker, he said so many wonderful things, but in our community, most of our businesses are run by women. And he said, women need more support. And he got a round of applause from everybody in the room. That was an awesome session. He also spoke of the disparity of minorities, whether they are racial minorities or women, sexual, and that we can go to the bank for the same loan, but just the same information or even better information and be turned away. And that's still going on. So that's why it's good to work together. There is strength in unity. And when we get really united, we can move mountains. There were people, there was one young man who had been in prison. He got out of prison. He started a program. He's dealing with millions of dollars for his community, not hundreds of thousands, but millions of dollars. And to see all of the things that he had done was phenomenal. So if we who are out here struggling every day, we need to catch the vision. Because when you travel and you go to different things, you realize how much you don't know. And we were in a position at this conference to find out how much we don't know. And a lot of it we should know. And the rest of it, we've got to find out so we can say we do know. Helena and I worked together on most of the meetings, but we all went to different because we didn't want to miss anything. And she spoke of size up, which deals a lot with demographics. And the CEO she was just so open. She said, I'll send you my presentation. She not only did that, but she got a Zoom call, a Zoom meeting this past week. And I'm getting more information and they want to work with us. So my biggest takeaway was I am grateful that I was able to be in the midst of so much knowledge and to bring some of it back. I was like a sponge sitting here, just soaking up everything. And then the other last point was the camaraderie with our team. That was awesome. We found a great place to eat and we socialized together. We had great bread. And I'm looking forward to the next time.
Can I add one? Mrs. B,
Yes.
at what point do we talk TikTok? TikTok.
I missed it.
Okay. Remember the boys that were?
Oh, yeah.
So this past year has been for the EDCAC has been all about information. If you noticed, the subcommittees that you put together, the outreach, business development and retention, and the community relations and resources subcommittees have been involved in a very steep learning curve. economic development has its own language. It has its own institutions. It has its own resources that are unique to this particular perspective. And I think that we're ready to take the next step now that we've identified important key avenues for learning, that we exercise our opportunity now to put together some real good programs that will help our business community. And I want to get into the next topic on the agenda, if you will. And I know, I sent you all a series of emails over the past month, encouraging you to think carefully about the current structure of your of the committee and the subcommittees, because I have some serious concerns about regarding the importance of transitioning to next steps. And we have your annual report. City Council did not consider that report last night, but it's sitting there. It's a static report, and it's not going to change. It is what it is. However, your activities have continued, past beyond completion of the report. You went to the SEDS conference, and so you learned a lot, and there's a lot more to do. One of the things that I wanted to encourage the committee to do is to think carefully about your subcommittee structures. We put that structure together. You put that structure together purposefully. You have discrete roles. Each subcommittee has its own purpose, its own agenda, and it developed its own program. Some of the subcommittees have worked better than others. Some have gone way beyond what we expected these subcommittees to do. I think it's all good. Personally, I think it's been a great experience for this committee. I think it's, and I wanted you to think about and weigh in on whether you think the current structure is adequate for our next steps. We have struggled in this community with a divisive context, and I'm not going to reference any judgment in that regard, because I think we're way beyond that. I think that what we have here is organizations that have developed. We have relationships that have developed, and I wonder whether the subcommittee structure is adequate to deal with the kind of issues that we're going to face over the next year. What I'm going to suggest is that you think carefully about having a structure that's more oriented to connections with different elements in the community going forward. We have two business organizations, both of which are represented on the EDCAC. We have connections in the county to the chamber. We have connections to Monterey Bay Economic Development Partnership. We have connections to the county's EDC corporation, and we have connections to the county's Economic Development Committee as well, which is a newly formed committee just over the past few months. So there's a lot of movement that we have in the economic development scene here in San Benito County. Then there's a lot of energy. And what I'm wondering is whether, we've got outreach committee, kind of fragmented, not necessarily connecting with the other two committees. We have the other two committees working not necessarily in an integrated way through the EDCAC as things come back before the committee, only in the context of the final report, which I don't think is really enough. That's not adequate. So what I would like to suggest is that you think about how the EDCAC should be structured to take advantage of these relationships that have been developed over the past year, and how to leverage these relationships as we go forward. And I encourage you to think about that. especially listen to the last EDCAC meeting, where a lot of this conversation took place. And it was a very critical meeting, I think, for the EDCAC going forward, because there was a lot of discussion about how well things are working. And if you didn't listen to that meeting, raise your hands. How many people listened to that meeting, as I suggested? Great. So those of you that didn't, please do. You might have learned something from that, listening to that meeting. And I wonder what your thoughts are with respect to not necessarily having subcommittees, but making sure that the affiliated groups that you are connected with are coming back into the EDCAC in a structured way. And I'm just going to leave it at that, because I like facilitating this group, but I don't want to be directive, because I think you're all very strong at what you do. So I'd be interested to know whether there are any thoughts, and if there aren't any thoughts in this regard this time, I want to put it on the agenda for next time. So
one thing that I would like to see is, I know that you're involved with the mission, the state park and the city and the school. And we had spoke about this in the past, and I'd really like to be involved in those meetings, because I think that's critical to know what's going on in town between all those associations. And I also,
when you say you would like to, you mean you personally?
yes,
Okay.
as chairperson, and whoever the chair is going forward, I think that they should be involved in that. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And
Park Mission City and
school. Yeah, I think that's critical to get feedback, what's going on, because I don't know about anyone else here. I know Teresa is involved with the school, and I think Patricia is as well. But other than that, I don't think we have any feedback. And I think that's critical to know, because as I stated earlier, those are all important pieces of our community. So that, and the other thing I'd like to bring up is, I think we need to think a lot bigger picture. We need to really think about some businesses that we can bring into town and that can help our tax base.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. I would like an opportunity to maybe think about a group of people that do work maybe more specifically on what is it called? Yeah, more county, hey, go work on this piece, put a couple of us on that and say, go work hard in that space, go get it. Because I think we need that focus. Almost every single one of us said that today. So I think we do need to divide and conquer and be a little bit smarter. State, county. Yeah, but I think we should probably have divide and conquer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see those as task forces. I'd like to get out of the silos. I like to be able to talk to the other subcommittee members, because when I'm going out there and doing research, I like to bring things back for them that they can use, as well as everybody else. I'm tired of the silos where the Brown Act says, well, you can't talk to them because they're not in your subcommittee. So,
yeah, I agree. That has been very difficult.
Yeah, and I'd like to just, as you talk about this, remember that the EDCAC was supposed to be a forum for these subcommittees. And the fact that that's not worked very well is a fact. And, like I said, there's no judgment there. It's just that it means that there's an essential thing that's not really working really well for us. So that's pretty good.
Anyone else?
I agree with being much more regional. I have been connecting with the schools some, because we've gone to some of their presentations. I know that Anzar High School is getting ready to change its whole gosh, their physical design aspect, but I hear from both Anzar and Gavilan College that vocational education is coming back, and Sean Tannenbaum is talking about it with the new high school that he wants to get a bond for. And that's going to be a county high
We
school.
need that.
And so, you know, and that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking at. Also, if we're talking about this city, let's get another hotel. Because the people will spend 3 times as much money and time here. Yet another hotel.
So Jack, do you mind sharing your plans with us? Or is it too soon?
Real quick,
Please speak into the microphone. There you go. Way down.
my
That's good.
I've been in construction since I was 19, but the recent pertinent info, I suppose, is that we have been building boutique hotels all around the state. And it was just kind of one of those epiphanies. You come driving through around here and it's, you know, you're about San Juan Bautista is about to get overrun. Hollister is not going to get overrun because it turns out they don't have any electricity. So as much as they would like to have some things over there, what can you do? But this region, and I'm not from California even, so our little group built, we built the Vista Colina over in Napa, and we built the Shashi over in Mountain View, and we've built some other kind of around. And hotel builders are kind of a loose conglomeration of people, and it just kind of depends on where you are and who just retired and who got fired and and then where's the money. And so right now our holding groups are working on putting the money together. And then you guys and Hollister both, what we're not used to is all of the seismic that you guys have right here. And that's also chasing us out of stopping in Hollister, which we love that little downtown. That's even more trouble there. And it turns out, okay, so the San Andreas Fault is right here, but it's kind of over there.
Yeah, and we're on granite.
Yeah. So we're just kind of getting used to him. Brian has been great information, and Don and all. Really, it was Renee Wells that I ran into in the first place, who said you should come to San Juan Bautista because, I've stayed here at the La Posada when the COVID was on and we got chased out of Santa Clara, but other than that, I don't really know your town. So we do have some minimums. What we run into is there's some great spots that could have some nice little boutique hotels, but like inns, if you have people that already own the buildings, that own the land, and there's just some conversion that happens, that can happen. But what we run into is if we have to buy the land, build a building, bring in utilities, then there's kind of a minimum threshold of how many rooms. And so we've been looking at some little spots, but they're kind of really too small for us because they don't already have a building that you can just convert.
How many rooms do you typically have in your hotel?
We vary between 40 and 200.
Okay, so the low end's 40.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's 40 if there's things, if the utility is right at the street, and if there's good cooperation, so we can get things done quickly, then it's like 40 is really the bare. My holding company is saying, because I was trying to work something out down, frankly, by JJ Hamburgers down there. But I don't know the landowners here. I haven't done research on who owns what. But here was this little building, that red building that sits down there. And it was like, well, look at that. Well, and we don't even necessarily mind who just bought and sold.
Yeah.
Because for us, it's a business model. So we oftentimes buy from someone who just bought it from somebody else.
Sure.
So it kind of goes like that for us. And kind of like you guys were already saying, I guess I'm one of the people that we know what our business model is like, and we kind of look around and go, oh, this is gonna work here, or no, it's not. So we already determined it's not gonna work in Hollister, but it might work here. Y'all are great.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's
Jack,
the short of
one
that.
more question. Vista Colina in Napa?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm gonna be up there in a few weeks. I work up there, so I'm just
Okay.
gonna check it out. What street's it on?
The Meritage,
Yeah, it's there.
So the Meritage, you know how there was the original
right?
that the Bush family built there?
Right.
And then they've added on across the street.
Oh, and that's, I know where it is.
The addition
Okay.
across the street. And
Okay.
so part of our vision is, we like building wine tasting rooms. I'm not a wine person per se. But we built 7 wine tasting rooms and a beer tasting room, and it's kind of a central, for bands and things like that. And Napa's too far away and too expensive for me, so I don't go there.
Right.
But I run into people around here that, it seems like there's plenty of great winemakers, and someone can easily
Yeah.
get together a little.
That red building was what, your great grandfather's brewery?
Yeah.
Now you know where she gets the drinking.
Now I know, now I know.
Oh, yeah. So,
A little bit of history. There's a building there called the Fault Line that was a restaurant, and it's been abandoned for quite a while, and I'm not sure what's going on with it, but that was a wine tasting room. It was a private residence / wine tasting room back in the day, and it was very
someone
popular.
is building a new house just a little.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Give me your card. I know the person who owns it.
Okay. I have a couple cards on me. Brian has my contact info, so we're going to talk with whoever wants to come.
Okay,
So-
thank you, Jack. Helena would like to.
I'd like to follow up just on one point here. Jack mentioned that he needs to do landowner research. One of the things that's happens here is that there's a lot of it's a small town. There's a lot of history here. People have known each other for a long time, and there's an informal network of communication. If we're going to be effective from an economic development standpoint, we need to formalize at least, have a little attention if we want to form a task force. That use that idea to make sure that we're connecting with our property owners that are here that are interested in making change. And we know that there are property owners here who are interested in making change. So I just want to encourage that.
Well, there's one property
outreach.
just outside of town that's interested. They're for sale right now.
And we have 18th Barrel with their hand up.
I'm gonna go ahead and.
Monica, can you please unmute yourself? Who's?
And isn't up.
There she is. They're unmuted.
I'm sorry, I didn't have my hand up.
But I had mine.
Helena.
Going back to what you said about the meeting, Brian, I think right now, this committee was formed to give information back, bring information back to the city council to make decisions on. It would be helpful, and I don't know if this is doable, that kind of like what Darlene said, if there's a task force, if there's a portion of the committee that can actually enact or work on active things to kind of move things forward. I don't know if that's going to be a different committee with, as it relates to California Main Street is creating that for that strategic plan for the downtown, how that works. But something needs to happen because we are all motivated volunteers. But, you know, in most towns, things happen so slowly, things don't get done. Or it takes years before it gets done, unfortunately. And some of us don't have it. We've already had one business that just recently had to shut their doors, which is very sad to the community. And there's several more that are looking at possibly shutting their doors because there's not a lot of action going on. And so one of the takeaways that I got from that last meeting is that there's members maybe on the group that want to act, but they really can't because their hands are tied. So how do we look at that?
Well, that's a tough question, isn't it? And I don't have a convenient answer. What I do know is that the EDCAC has a purpose. It has a charter established by the city council. It's a policymaking group. It's a group that's supposed to recommend programs for investment by the city, and it's supposed to interact with the business community to create those recommendations. And so that interaction itself is a lot of work. And what California Main Street will offer is a strategy that will enable us to make those recommendations in an informed way. So my recommendation is that action exists in the private sector. Policymaking occurs in the public sector. This is a policymaking organization, and that's its charter. And until the city council thinks it should be doing something different, that's what it is. Yeah. So anybody else have a perspective on that?
Sounds good.
I have a question. So you brought up that a business, sorry. You brought up that one business just recently closed their doors. Well, in this same complex, we lost 3 businesses and potentially a 4th in Hawks Peak. Brewery 25, Char's Boutique,
Char's still there.
and Artsy Chica, she's moving. She's leaving. So is it not I don't know. I don't know what my ask is, but we have business development and retention. How do we go about retaining our businesses that are here? Is a question for the whole group. I mean, that's one question that we need to ask ourselves. Why did this happen? How did this happen? How can we make this city different and better?
So we just submitted our recommendations to the city council, as well as a subset of that report just went in this last one. We need a strategic plan so that we can safeguard ourselves against certain things. Because there's no framework for us to work with, it's impossible. It really is. We can only help so many people, but because we're just a policy-driven organization, from the public sector, where we're creating our recommendations for what we can do, and we're submitting them to the city council, and then the city council needs to act upon or not act upon those recommendations so we can come up with a framework. One thing that you all have done, which we're grateful for, this meaning the city council, is you've afforded the opportunity for us to work with California Main Street, which is putting together a plan that we need for the revitalization of our community, which will in turn help all of the businesses here.
So an important perspective here is that we're creating a public-private partnership environment. And like all partnerships, there's some variety there. There's not a formula for how that should look. And what I would encourage this committee to do is to be aware of the resources that are available and make sure that that information is connecting with the business community, specifically individual businesses. If you want hospitality, for example, we want to make sure that people understand the opportunities available here and the mechanisms to enhance that sector. We want to create clusters. We want to understand what resources are available to create those clusters and what is really possible in terms of targeting industries. Right. So it's not that we're just a policy group. So sorry, we're not just a policy group. There's a lot there that can be made available through the work of this committee in the way of opening the door for resources that are available.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that was more of a rhetorical question and something that we as a committee need to think about. Sorry to interrupt, Jackie.
There's also one other resource that has been untapped that was alluded to by Mrs. B and a couple other people today, is GoBiz. GoBiz offers an extensive amount of information, and they're here for us. We just have to reach out. So each individual business has been tasked with the responsibility for their own business. And for us to reach out directly to them, find out what available resources and or funding opportunities, and there's other federal programs that we can tap into. I had a customer just this weekend. She was working with the federal government here at the high school. Not this high school, is another one out of town, but they're specifically here for the disaster relief. And they actually had a forum set up where you can actually go fill out your application. They were there to help you. And you didn't have to be the property owner to access this. You could have it for your personal property or for your business. And then the loans were like, I don't know, 0% for so much time. And then it was like 3 or 4% for the remainder of the time, but you got 12 months or something. But there's so many resources that I didn't know about, but like I think our mayor was alluding to, what Brian has alluded to, and others, if we're able to put together a resource group or tap into the resources that's already made available through GoBiz and the SBCA. Is it?
Cal OSPA, OSBA.
All these acronyms.
You gotta learn.
But if we can tap into those, it's very important. But I know we get inundated with information and we don't know where to go. And sometimes it takes some hand holding, but if we just go through CalBiz or GoBiz, they can kind of redirect us to other areas.
Yeah, and in just to sort of,
I have a lot of questions in the audience.
just sort of, we have had 2 different presentations from GoBiz. There was an in-depth presentation provided to the business forum. There was contact information to GoBiz representatives that will hold your hand. And I know a lot of people took advantage of that or understood that that is an opportunity available to individual businesses. And so it is true, GoBiz has a lot, but I think that it's like everything else. There's a learning curve, and part of that learning curve is knowing how to access the resource that's available.
So that is exactly what I was trying to say.
We have people that are patiently, actually, Jackie was first. Leanna, thanks. Sorry, you guys, but they've been waiting patiently.
This one.
And City Council Member Jackie Morris Lopez. So I just wanted to, yes, I just wanted to just kind of repeat or support what Mayor Jordan said. You know, as a resident and also City Council member, I was very concerned when I saw, you know, vital businesses leave Hawks Peak Plaza. And I know the confusion for me as a council member was why this committee was formed. I kind of get that now, how, what its sole purpose was. And that's still the confusion. Are you action oriented? Are you simply a committee that is, you know, you've got a mix of people here, stakeholders, business people, elected officials, interested community members, longtime residents. I grew up with Stephanie and Teresa, and my best friend back here, Debbie. She's also, we're all longtime residents. And so, you know, we bring that history and that understanding of our community. And so I was very saddened to see one of our local breweries, you know, Brewery 25, leave town. That's a huge hit to our community. They are a local company making beer. So I think, you know, we as a community need to look. And I, as a council member, if you are advising us and you're not into action because there's some confusion there, you have statements in your description of business attraction and retention. So at what level is this group committed to doing that? Because surely, you know, if you are action oriented, someone from this group, along with city, should have reached out to these businesses before their doors were shut. We also have a company downtown called Sweet Cheeks. That candy store has been not open for months. I hate to think about you know, the rodent population feasting on all that sugar. It just kind of gives me the creeps. But you know, there's things like that. There's empty storefronts, you know, so I really need to understand as a city council person, what the intent, the realistic intent of what this group is doing and plans to do. And you have been here in composition for over a year. So for me, that's not just getting, you know, you've been around. It's not like 6 months. You've been around, you have people on your committee that are local business owners. You know who you are, not calling you out, but you guys have been here, you have shops, you open your doors. So I think you bring that experience. And I really caution you in creating all these subcommittees or other committees, bringing in people, because honestly, when you talk to people that have been here, we don't want to be like Hollister. We don't want to be Gilroy. We are San Juan Bautista. We have our own identity. And that's what we want to, I would say, my vision for this town is to help and find out why we're not getting enough foot traffic. We certainly do during weekends. And in all honesty, I don't know at this time if another hotel is necessary. I know that some people feel that it is, because we can't even fill up our hotels during the week. The only time that they're overflowing is on a weekend if there's a wedding in town. So I mean, I like the idea that this gentleman says they also do wine tasting and beer rooms. Maybe they also do restaurants, because I think that we really need to, you know, maybe repurpose some buildings, get that gym there that's kind of withering away, the brass lantern or the cutting horse. That was like a mainstay, you know, surf and turf place. And that would bring in more people to all of us. And another thing I think with businesses, and you know, I can't really tell you how to run your business, but I find that maybe doing like a local night, like having one night a month, I know it takes money to open your doors and staff, but attract us locals to come to your businesses. Have a locals night, something that you can do on a regular basis. Commit to being open later, maybe in the summer months, every weekend, you know, get people coming into your shops. But that's just my opinion. I just feel like cautionary moves into making so many committees that you lose your focus. You guys are here, you're dedicated, you've got great ideas, you're attending conferences. Why give it to someone else? You guys have, you know, you are a group that's motivated. You know our town, you live here, you have businesses. Tap into that. Be selective who you invite in. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Leanna from Anaka, I want to play off a little bit of what Jackie said, because one thing about Hawks Peak that bothers me, and I would hope that you all could, you know, as a person who has been in management for well over 30 years and been to many conferences and things, they do give you a lot of great feedback. You learn a lot of things from them that you can bring home in any style business. Mine was medical and dental for 30 years. Now I'm in the restaurant business, but to me, the same applications apply. But the 3 businesses we lost and that are leaving this coming week in Hawks Peak, that I just feel like this task committee, there should be more outreach than an email. There should have been more done. We need to get through the paperwork, the talking points, and get something done and meet with these people and ask them, can we help them? Should they be, I mean, these are 3 successful businesses. They don't need to close their doors because they're not making money. They close their doors because they don't want to be in San Juan Bautista. And that needs to be looked at.
Thank you, Leanna. Rhonda? Yep. Yep. That's what, and I mean, I agree too. Right, and I will say, Amanda made a nice presentation, but I don't think we need all of that. I feel like where in our room, here in this room and in this town, we only have 4 blocks. We know what needs to be done and we can do it. I really do believe that. And I didn't realize that city council approved that. And Brian and I had a discussion and you felt that with the group going to Cal Ed that we didn't even really need Main Street. I have it written down in an email, Yep. I mean, that's just my opinion. And I mean, I'm just one person, but that's how I feel as well. And SBA is great, you know. Yeah, Small Business Association, if you don't know what it is, and they especially give loans to women.
So one of the things that we did as staff is that we listened to EDCAC. There was a lot of interest in California Main Street in general. And there was enough interest that the city joined Main Street. So we are Main Street members. That's okay. I'm just saying, the way that this evolves is that the EDCAC generates interest, advocates a program, wants a strategy. We look at two entities that would help the city create a strategy. Retail Strategies was one, California Main Street was another. And so we spent a lot of time looking at both programs. Both programs presented information to the EDCAC, and we picked one. Because that's okay. No, I'm just explaining how it evolved. Yes. Okay.
I could see that being used for something downtown to help, you know, paint a building or get a business owner. Rhonda?
Is this, I mean, I know you guys have this group and those of us that have shown up. Is this thrown out to the community? Does the community want Main Street America? I mean, they're the ones that live in this town. They have come to this development. They've come to Copperleaf, have those developments. I mean, is this thrown out to the community? This idea?
Council, but it wasn't thrown out.
Okay, I mean, it's just a thought. We're a very small town. It's not hard to get some flyers out
Yeah,
and maybe get some more people interested in helping. There may be some that aren't interested, and that's okay, but just more community involvement other than always the same 12 of us that help in this town. It's just a thought.
Great point. Okay, next item 10, information only, San Juan Bautista strategic plan report, consultant report.
Well, that's an easy one. That's not finished yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great. And then future agenda and meeting schedule.
So your next meeting is the second Wednesday of August.
Is that like the night through the night?
I'm not sure what the exact date is,
Yeah.
but okay. And then, so the idea here is to do some more thinking about this task force idea and to actually think about how that might work. We spent one meeting creating subcommittees. I can come back to the committee with some suggestions like we did with the subcommittee structure, roles and responsibilities based on this conversation that we're having, and sort of prime the pump, if you will, for that discussion. That's worked for this committee pretty well in the past. I don't want to preempt creative ideas through that process. So I'm willing to give a little bit of perspective on what the structure might look like, and then you can like see if that works. Sort of some different alternatives. And then we can move forward in that way. It's often difficult for committees like this to sort of on the spur of the moment come up with what you like, how you'd like to proceed. So a little bit of staff support, which is why I'm here, might be helpful. So if you want that on your agenda next time, you can do something similar to what we did when we established subcommittees. That was a great process, and we can go through that strategizing again with these ideas. And please listen to the last meeting. Yeah.
And I will be gone the 9th through the 12th next time. Working.
You can participate via Zoom. It's the second Wednesday is your usual. Yeah. Okay. Does that sound good? Okay, great.
Everybody.
Another great meeting. Thank you.